When Ichiban realized he's in his birthday suit for all to see, he wanders around trying to find his way back to Akane's house. That's when the local police force picked him up. The interviewing officer is a hard ass and doesn't believe anything Ichiban is saying, telling him that the only way he can help himself is by calling the mother he's never met to come in and pay his bail, clearly asking for the impossible. Things take a turn for the worse as the cop taunts Ichiban, saying he can pin any recent crime on him, since Ichiban has no identification or passport. He effectively doesn't exist, making him an easy target. Ichiban feigns compliance with the officers until he is near the station exit, where he breaks free from the officers and runs out of the building. The officers give chase, but Ichiban gets away by running into oncoming traffic. But while catching his breath, Ichiban is told to freeze.
Freeze. Hands up. A fitting end for the hero of Yokohama. I doubt Masumi Arakawa would approve. Long time no see, Kasuga.
Whoa. Kiryu-san? Is that you?
Who else would it be?
Well, it's just... you seem a lot different than before.
Ichiban thanks Kiryu for his help and wonders how he knew where to find him. He explains that he's in Hawaii for a job searching for someone. While gathering intel, Kiryu heard about Ichiban and his situation and decided to help. Ichiban asks about his job and he explains it from the top. On paper, Kiryu is known as dead. To protect his loved ones and to keep up the appearance, traces of him can't be found anywhere. To prevent any slip-ups, all of his moves are monitored and watched. These watchers are known as the Daidoji faction, a secret organization with the goal of keeping Japan's economy flowing and their political leaders' hands clean. A few weeks ago, they requested Kiryu to find and detain a certain person, but before he could get much done, Kiryu ran into Ichiban. Thankful for his help, Ichiban offers to help Kiryu on his investigation. He believes Ichiban has more pressing matters, like recently committing a felony, but in the end, he's probably safer sticking with him. Next, the two make plans to find Ichiban's thief, believing the best place is to check Akane's house for clues. But it's late, and the two decide to lay low and have a drink, toasting to their strange reunion. The next day, the two head to Akane's house. When they arrive, Kiryu sounds confused and asks Ichiban if he's sure this is the place. He confirms it's the right place, and the two head inside. Ichiban looks around and notices everything is the exact same as the night he was knocked out. Kiryu looks around the house with a confused look. He then asks again if this is the right place, as he looks at a picture he pulled from his pocket. Ichiban again says he is sure, but he's never actually seen Akane personally. Kiryu then asks if Akane is the person in the photo he's holding. Ichiban can tell easily it is indeed Akane, but quite a few years older. He's surprised Kiryu is carrying a photo of his mother and asks what's going on. Kiryu comes to the conclusion that the Daidoji faction is after Akane, although he doesn't know why. He was simply asked to find and detain the person in the picture. Before they can figure out more, they notice a group of men arrive outside the house. Out from behind them is Yamai. He notices Kiryu's parked car and slashes the tires, then sends his men inside the house to see who's there, calling out Tomizawa to not disappoint him again before he enters. Ichiban and Kiryu try to slip out through the back, taking a nearby truck, but before they can leave, they're stopped by Tomizawa. He's surprised to see Ichiban again, but holds his ground, telling him not to move. Kiryu notices Tomizawa is shaking and would most likely miss if Ichiban just makes a run for the vehicle. But Ichiban says there's something he needs to do first. He walks up to Tomizawa and tells him to put the gun down and head to the hospital, as he's clearly still suffering from Yamai's beating. He then asks if Yamai is worth Tomizawa's loyalty. He screams at Ichiban, saying he doesn't have a choice in the matter, and that he doesn't know Yamai like he does. Ichiban simply says to the young man, "We can help you," promising him that they would make sure Yamai never lays a hand on him again. Tomizawa is confused why Ichiban would help him after everything he's done to him, thinking he's just trying to take advantage of him. Ichiban sees how scared Tomizawa is and relates to him, saying he was in the same position once, describing the feeling of wanting to scream for help, knowing no one will answer, recounting the time when someone did answer his call for help, when Arakawa bailed out a young punk on the streets. Ichiban believes now is the time to pay it forward, and do the same for Tomizawa. Kiryu can tell Ichiban's word had an effect on Tomizawa, and he smiles proudly. But the moment is interrupted when Yamai and his men come out from the house. He's surprised to see Ichiban again, calling him a fool, then asks where the old lady's at. It seems as though everyone is looking for Akane. Ichiban declines to answer him, then Yamai commands Tomizawa to shoot Ichiban on the count of 3. While looking around, Yamai notices Kiryu sitting in the truck and says he knows him. He then snaps out of it and tells himself that he's most likely mistaken. Yamai counts down to 3, but before Tomizawa shoots, Kiryu gives him one last speech, saying whatever choice he makes, prepare to carry it for the rest of his life. On 3, Tomizawa stands up for himself and turns around to shoot at Yamai, nearly hitting him. Yamai looks at the bullet that nearly hit him, then looks back at Tomizawa angrily. Tomizawa begins to freak out that he nearly hit him, but Ichiban calms him down, telling him not to worry. Kiryu agrees and says they'll both clear the path ahead. Yamai stares down the party as they dismantle his men. Once there's an opening, the 3 jump into the truck and make their escape. As they drive away, we cut back to Yamai as he yells at himself that Kazuma Kiryu lives. The dragon rears its head once more. Once the party is far enough away, they make a stop and assess the situation. Kiryu explains that Yamai was once in the Tojo clan as part of the Tabata family. Years ago, before even Ichiban swore his oath, the Tabata family dissolved and all their members went to different families. The family broke up after Yamai murdered his patriarch, Shuji Tabata. From what the Daidoji faction told him, it was a crime of passion. Apparently, Yamai had feelings for the patriarch's wife. Once he found out, a fight broke out between the two, leading to his death. From reports, Yamai then tried to assault Tabata's wife, Yui, who was present at the time. Once it was over, Yui told the police everything he did, and Yamai was branded a traitor to the Tojo clan. But he disappeared for years until he showed up in Hawaii, resurfacing while the Tojo clan was crumbling from the inside. Ichiban asks Tomizawa why they were at Akane's. He says all they were told was to grab her or turn the house upside down for clues. Kiryu assumes since she hasn't turned up at her home, she is either still on the run or was already found by a third faction. Ichiban is upset Akane is being chased around by a bunch of lunatics, but they have no other leads right now. Kiryu suggests they all head to his hotel and rest up and continue their search tomorrow. On the way, Kiryu is pickpocketed by a homeless man. A chase breaks out and the party is eventually able to catch him. Kiryu takes pity on the man and lets him go, not wanting to get further involved and taking him to the police station. Tomizawa believes no matter how much he pities him, he's just gonna do it again, out of necessity to survive. Once the party arrives at Kiryu's hotel, he explains that the Daidoji informed him Akane's been missing for 10 days. Ichiban is surprised and concerned where she's been this whole time. He also notes that Chitose mentioned she had only been gone a day. Tomizawa doubts anything Chitose said was the truth and is an unreliable source of information, but it leaves everyone to wonder what she was doing at Akane's house, leaving the young woman as the party's next biggest lead, and their only avenue in getting Ichiban's passport back. Kiryu then asks Tomizawa if he were to sell a passport, where would he take it? As having worked for Yamai and is a local, he has some experience dealing with black markets and the criminal underworld in Hawaii. Tomizawa knows just the man, but he tries to convince Ichiban and Kiryu from heading out to meet him just yet, as it's late on a Monday night. They ask why the time has any significance, and Tomizawa asks for them to look out the window. Every Monday night, the local mafia, known as the Barracudas, walk the streets in a display of power. He compares Yamai and his men as small fries. From their room, they witness the homeless man from earlier attempt to pickpocket one of the gang members. The Barracuda member quickly notices, and the gang drags the homeless man into a dark alley. Ichiban, not being able to just stand by, bolts out of the hotel room to the man's location. The party arrives to a horrifying sight. The Barracudas nailed the man to the wall and cut him open vertically, and left him to die slowly. Not wanting to join him, Kiryu has the party retreat back to the hotel. Tomizawa explains the Barracudas have the run of the place. If they were killed tonight, the police would sweep it under the rug. Ichiban and Kiryu are hesitant to retreat, but even they realize they can't take on a whole army. The next day, the party heads to Jeff's taco truck and pay him for information. He says he remembers Chitose bringing by Ichiban's passport due to his unique hairstyle, but he says she didn't try to sell it. She only asked if this would get her into District 5. the Barracuda hideout. Jeff explains the Barracudas let anyone in who steals a passport and sells it to them, as a large part of their income is from altering and reselling them. He suggests contacting a cop named Roman to get in, as the police have to make regular sweeps through the district, but Roman is clearly tied to the gang. Before meeting Roman, Tomizawa stops the party to talk. He warns Ichiban and Kiryu to not head to District 5, as it's extremely dangerous. Ichiban explains he's not there to take them on, but just to find Chitose, believing they can slip out without much of a problem. Tomizawa gets angry thinking Ichiban is taking the situation lightly. Ichiban understands his frustration, but is also able to pick up that there's more going on between Tomizawa and the Barracudas. He tells his new friend that he can talk to him about it, saying what makes him think he wouldn't want to help. Kiryu supports Ichiban, saying if he doesn't tell him, the guy's just gonna hound him about it until the ends of the earth.
It all happened a few years back. I was just a simple taxi driver. No Yamai, no cons, nothing like that.
So you really were an honest cabbie. Once.
Yeah, well, I also wasn't rich, but I was happy. I had a woman to love, and man, did she love me. I believe we almost had a kid. And looking back, those were the best days of my life.
Huh. Never knew you had a family.
And my girl, her name was Marie. She was astounding. And you guys would have loved her. Anyway, she was nearly 6 months pregnant when it happened. And the cops showed up at our place with a warrant for my arrest.
They came to arrest you? For what?
They said I held up a cab and stole a bunch of money from some executive.
What the hell?
I was being framed, obviously. But the witnesses kept pouring in. And before I knew it, the judge gave me 5 years in prison. And the attorney had told me if I tried pleading innocent, they'd lock me for 15 years instead.
So you pled guilty then?
Yeah. It was either I swallow the 5 years or take the risk and triple it. And I was too broke to hire a better lawyer. It was like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I had my whole life ahead of me, and then in an instant, it was gone. I never even understood why. That is, till I got to prison. Turns out I wasn't the only one screwed over like this. They told me so themselves.
You mean the guys in prison?
Yeah. Apparently, the Barracudas get away with so much shit because their boss will set up innocent people instead. He'll bring in a bunch of fake witnesses or buy out the police if he has to. You remember Roman, that cop Jeff mentioned? He's the guy pulling the strings on the law side. Seems not a lot's changed since then.
So the Barracudas have the police in their pocket.
How'd Marie take it?
When I got locked up, she only came to see me once. She told me she miscarried.
No.
And she was under so much stress. Should have seen it coming. I doubt she was eating right or getting any sleep. Her eyes were sunken. She was thin as a bone. All because of this bullshit that happened to me. And that was the last I saw of her. When I got out, I couldn't find a single trace of her. Honestly, I just hope that she's out there doing okay. So I spent every last cent I had to my name and bought a gun.
Shit.
For revenge?
For Marie. For a child who never had a chance at life. I knew what the boss looked like. I'm not sure anymore how long it took, but I kept watching until the day he showed his face. And the moment came. I was shaking. Couldn't move. He even had fewer guards than I'd pictured. Should have been easy. Bastard walked right past me. He didn't have a care in the world. I'm a fucking coward.
Maybe. But that's why you're alive today. If you'd gone through with it, you would have been killed. Just another gutted corpse.
At least I'd have been killed for a reason. What am I now? A ghost? Who robs tourists with a gun he hasn't got the courage to shoot? Isn't it better to die for something than to live for nothing?
Tomizawa.
With all my money gone, I fell in with Yamai, pay my debts. He's the only man left in Hawaii still stupid enough to compete with the Barracudas. What's that say about me? Huh? I'm even stupider for following him. Or maybe I was hoping he'd be able to take them down someday. But I knew it'd never happen. So that's my story. Hope you realize now who you're dealing with. Not just the Barracudas. With scum like me.
You're not a bad guy. And you're no coward. I saw you walk away from Yamai. That took real courage. He might have killed you, but you knew it was the right thing to do.
Come on, man. You talked me into it.
That doesn't matter. You made the decision. It was your call. Nobody else's. After all you've been through, I get that this may be a fight you want to walk away from. But if you really think you're scum, that you're just another criminal, this might be the only way to change that. A way to start living again. Look, killing the boss of the Barracudas or not, that's another call you'll have to make yourself. All I know is that I'm not gonna stand by and let them keep getting away with their shit. And if you're up for it, I know you'll be able to help us take them down.
You want me?
Help us out, and maybe get the chance to set things right. Not a bad deal, is it? What do you think, Kiryu-san?
Maybe dangerous. But it could also be your one path to redemption.
You two are some lousy salesmen, honestly. If you're still planning to take the Barracudas on after all you've heard,
We are.
then fine. I'll go with you. Do-gooders like you? The Barracudas will eat you alive without me.
Yeah. Eat you alive. I get it.
Glad to have you on board, Tomizawa.
Next, the party heads to a bar Roman frequents. Inside, he's surrounded by Barracuda gang members. Roman says he will only take them to District 5 for a measly $50,000. Things escalate when Kiryu steps up to the officer, demanding to be taken to District 5 and to clear Ichiban's record of all charges, letting him know how sick the officer's corruption makes him. Roman shoots, but Kiryu quickly interrupts his aim right before. A fight then breaks out. In the scramble, Roman gets his hands on his gun again and aims it at Tomizawa. Ichiban dives in, pushing him out of the way, the bullet just missing the two. Kiryu then sweeps in and gets the final blow on Roman. Tomizawa yells at Ichiban why he would do that and risk his life. Ichiban simply laughs it off and says he doesn't mind taking a bullet for a bud. Tomizawa has no response and begins to realize what kind of crazy Kiryu and Ichiban are. Roman agrees to take the party to District 5 and clear Ichiban's record. They then make plans to head there the next day. Back at the hotel, the party take a much needed break and bond over drinks. Ichiban apologizes to Tomizawa for dragging him into all of this. Tomizawa replies that they didn't drag him into anything, that this was all his choice and part of his path to getting his life back together. The choice to leave Yamai and follow them was his alone, saying the two of them saved his life, maybe even his soul. Ichiban relates to Tomizawa on turning a new leaf, expressing what a wild ride it's been after he was in jail for 18 years. Kiryu begins to get sentimental and gives the two advice, saying that one can always turn a new leaf, but you can't turn back what's happened. You're only given so much precious time, and you have to live every last moment to the fullest. Tomizawa and Ichiban can tell something is up and ask if something happened. Kiryu sighs and decides to tell them the truth since they're fighting together. He reveals that he has cancer and at most only has 6 months to live. In 2020, Kiryu was working for a decommissioned waste facility for reactors. While working, a co-worker had a heart attack and ran the forklift into the waste, knocking it over and causing a leak. While trying to save the knockout worker, another set of waste fell on top of him, breaking his mask and exposing him to the elements. Kiryu explained that what they were hauling should be low risk and shouldn't cause any immediate harm. So it's hard to tell if that incident was the cause, as the cancer could have come from anywhere. Ichiban can't believe what he's hearing and urges Kiryu to drop everything and see a doctor, as he shouldn't be out here wrecking himself. Kiryu explains he's seen a doctor and it's nothing a surgery can fix. He only has pills to ease things, and he would rather spend what time he has left doing work rather than retire. Ichiban gets angry and tells him he's just on the government's leash, running away from reality. Kiryu steps up and stares him down, then heads out to take a shower. Tomizawa and Ichiban take in what they just heard and agree to resolve this matter quickly and get Kiryu to a hospital as soon as possible. The next day, the party is taken into District 5 by Roman. On the surface, District 5 is a giant squatting homeless camp, but through investigation, it's revealed that there is a place known as the Underside. Chitose was in the camp trying to figure out on how to get inside. Roman is hesitant to take the party any further as he's pushing all of their safety to its limits. He calls the Underside a gateway to a parallel universe, the Anaconda Shopping Center, an old air raid shelter converted into an underground black market shopping mall. All the products are counterfeit designer brands made almost identically, using the homeless above as workers. With no sign of Chitose, Roman takes the party further in to the sweatshops in the back. But when they arrive, Barracuda gang members walk up to Roman and kill him for bringing in outsiders to the core of their operation. A fight then breaks out and the party makes their way through the facility, but Kiryu begins to lag behind and almost passes out. The rest of the party quickly grabs him and hide in a storage room. Inside that room, they bump into Chitose, hiding as well. Ichiban asks what she's even doing here, and she simply explains that the Barracudas are after her as well, most likely because she knows too much about Akane, as the Barracudas are after her as well. The party decides to take a break and have Chitose explain everything from the beginning. Akane hired Chitose to do housework part-time. About 12 days ago, Akane disappeared without warning. Chitose entered her house to collect her pay, knowing where Akane kept her money. That is when Ichiban showed up. Fearing for herself, as it was illegal for her to have a part-time job, she never contacted the police that Akane was missing. She doubted Ichiban would believe her story and that most likely report her to the police. So she set him up so that she would have time to disappear into District 5. Ichiban wonders why she would go to such lengths, and she explains she comes from a prestigious family in Japan, the Fujinomiyas, and she is their top candidate for the successor. In fear of her family finding out if she was arrested, she came to District 5 to lay low for a while, as she describes her family as a bunch of lunatics who'll do whatever it takes to keep up the family name. Tomizawa is confused why a rich girl like her would risk so much for 1 month's pay. She simply says, "Why do you think rich people stay rich? Because they're stingy." Next, Kiryu asks why the Barracudas are after her. Once Chitose arrived, she was taken straight to the boss, as someone like her turning up is very rare. The two hit it off, and the Barracuda boss kept her around as a guest. Sneaking around, Chitose found a form with all of Akane's personal information. Clearly, they're looking for her as well. She does note that she found the form in the trash, meaning the boss may not need it anymore. Maybe the Barracudas got her. Thinking they may be holding Akane somewhere nearby, Chitose snuck around some more. Now branded a traitor, Chitose is being hunted as well. She is glad to have run into the party and offers to lead them to the exit in exchange for their protection. But Tomizawa interrupts, saying he has unfinished business with the Barracuda leader. Ichiban and Kiryu agree and ask Chitose to lead them to the boss instead, hoping they will settle things for Tomizawa and find out more information about Akane. Chitose is hesitant to go back, but agrees to help, as she's worried about Akane as well. Referencing if she had never hired her, she would have been somewhere in the gutter. She then leads the party back to the Anaconda Shopping Center and points out a special elevator. After fighting through hordes of Barracuda cronies, the party takes the elevator, leading them to the Crystal Aloha Resort, the fanciest hotel in all of Hawaii. It seems as though this elevator is how the customers accessed the Black Market Mall underground. Chitose explains the Barracuda boss lives on the top floor, using it as his own personal palace. On the way to the boss's location, Chitose asks Ichiban if he truly believes everything she's telling him, saying it's very possible she's just following the boss's orders and leading them into a trap. Ichiban shrugs and says it will most likely work out. Chitose is confused by his response, and he simply explains it was his choice to put his trust in her. If it bites him in the ass, so what? Chitose is stunned by his attitude, then sighs. Ichiban asks what's wrong, and she replies that she got turned around and that the correct elevator to the boss is further up ahead. After taking the correct elevator, the party arrives at the top of the hotel. They are greeted by Dwight Mendez, leader of the Barracudas. He says he's surprised they made it so far, and focuses on Chitose, telling her she has guts for betraying him. Chitose apologizes to Ichiban and explains she lied about being on the run. Truth is, she was caught. Dwight then gave Chitose a choice, to either die or do him a favor. The plan was for Chitose to lead the party into a trap where they would be killed, but instead, she changed her mind and led them directly to Dwight instead. She explains she had no guarantee Dwight would have kept her alive. Ichiban was a safer choice. She thinks that Ichiban is way too nice and isn't smart enough to double-cross anyone. Dwight then reveals to Chitose that he knows who she is, Fujinomiya, and had planned to keep her hostage and bleed her family for money. Tomizawa confronts Dwight about what he did to him, and Dwight just laughs it off and doesn't admit anything. Ichiban asks if they found Akane, but he refuses to give them any more answers, and a fight breaks out. After Dwight is defeated, he answers Ichiban's questions about Akane. The Barracudas received a request to look for her, but she has yet to be found. The anonymous requester offered a 1 million down payment and 9 million more to those who found her. He has no idea why or who is chasing Akane, and once Ichiban is done with him, Tomizawa takes his turn.
Great. Then I guess it's my turn. You give me a yes or a no. That crime I got locked up for. Was that you? Both the setup and bringing in a fall guy? It was your call? Answer me!
Okay. Yes, damn it!
All right. So it was you. Do you have any idea how bad you fucked me over? And not just me!
Wait, stop, wait. Roman might be gone, but I can still wipe your criminal record easy. Just say the word. And I got money. $1 million. No, $10 million. Oh, okay. Hey, that'll give you a clean slate. And then some. You'll be set for life.
Like hell I will! You think money's ever gonna bring my kid back? You think money's ever gonna bring you back? Listen up. You know Chitose's name and face. You're gonna get rid of all the intel you have on her. She was never here. You got it? If you can promise me that, you're free to go. Well, it's your call!
Okay. It's a deal. I'll get rid of everything, and I won't tell anyone either. I swear it. I swear.
All right. Just know, if you ever go back on your word, I'll put this thing right between your eyes. Oh, yeah. And this lovely little number here goes viral. That's my promise. Well, I think that about wraps things up. Let's roll.
You good now, Tomizawa?
Honestly, I'd love to see him fry. But that'd mean sinking to his level. Plus, it's not like taking him out would spell the end of the Barracudas. We don't know who might leak info about Chitose, right? Better to leave him alive. Keep everyone else in line.
But why do this for me?
Because, believe it or not, you saved my life too. I may not get why, but you still betrayed Dwight and led us right to him on top of it. We wouldn't be here without you. So, how about we call it even? Between you and Ichiban, I had enough debt as it was. I figured I'd strike one off the list.
When the hell did you get so cool, Tommy?
I've always been cool, smartass.